Hi, I'm Johnny from Wex.
And I'm Andy.
And today we have taken some shelter from the rain and we have come into this lovely pub and we're going to have a go with some portable lighting solutions. We have right here the Rotolight EOS 2 and we have the Profoto B10X and we're going to have a go at shooting 3 different situations. We are going to look at portable lighting for portraiture, we're going to look at a still life setup, and we're also, if we're lucky, we're going to get a wonderful picture of a dog.
Today we're going to be shooting on the Canon R5. We're going to keep same camera, same lens today, just to keep it even across the board so you can get a really good feel of how we're going to adapt our shooting styles to the lights, because I'm more videography based and Johnny here is more stills based.
For sure.
So naturally we're leaning towards different lights, so we're going to just test some of the adaptability of them and see how easy it is to get different images, even though we're doing different skill sets. So in terms of where we are and what we're doing like a small portrait shot. On this wall here is a very lovely wall of a giant world map. So I figured I'd get a subject looking quite pensive, thinking, what shall I do in life? The answer's right behind him. So I've stuck it on a cake, the Rotolight on the cake lamp, kind of made it more a bit daylight based. So I'm just going to try and mimic the daylight coming through the windows here. We're kind of fighting some of the tungsten here, but because of the colour differences on the back wall, it might look pretty good. It's also worth noting as well that with the Rotolight, I'm actually powering it from a small V-Lock battery, which is pretty handy.
So what I'm looking at is I've got Andy sitting in the corner seat here. We've got these 2 lovely big windows left and right of him, which is giving really nice side lighting. We've got a very kind of warm chandelier overhead. So I'm wondering about complementing that, putting in some more warmer light to fill in from the front of Andy, or whether we'll try to counter that with some cooler light. With the Profoto B10X, it's a smaller light source. It's going to be quite a harder light. So we might look at some shadows that we can create with the flowers on the table as well as working next to him. Something a bit dramatic, something that doesn't actually maybe look so totally true to life, so more of a creatively lit portrait rather than trying to get a natural look. This is with the modelling light as warm as it'll go, and that's punching a little shadow of the carnations just across your jumper. There, so if you just on the, yeah, it's quite sweet, isn't it? I reckon what we'll do is we'll switch to flash as well, because I mean Profoto is traditionally, historically, Profoto is a flash company, and so we've got the Profoto Connect controller, but we don't have any gels. So with the flash, we've just got that kind of daylight balance punch of a flash tube, and if you wanted to change the color temperature there, then you'd have to gel it much more. Both flash and LED, you can change the brightness. That's a variable that you can change very easily. But with flash, you have to put in an extra accessory or an extra item to change the color temperature. So we'll show the difference between those two. So the flash is so much more powerful in the Profoto than the continuous lighting can ever achieve. It's built to blast out a single flash of really intense light. So my test at 5, which was 50% power on this head, was way over on in Andy's portrait. So I've dialed it down to 3. I'm going to take another shot, see what it looks like. So that wraps up our portrait session. It was quite quick.
Yep.
You got any comments on the lights that we've used?
I think just both of them being battery operated, obviously great. I do like the idea of the Profoto a little bit more, and watching Johnny use it, I think size really matters. I mean, that thing you can chuck into a backpack, which is great. They're both as adaptable as each other. So I think dialing in temperature and dialing in brightness is just straightforward. And I think more so these days, it's more about usability rather than end product, because a lot of stuff does a lot of features and a lot of features well. So really it's all about how you want to use it as an end user for me.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that the Rotolight comes in immediately softer than the Profoto.
Yeah.
So if you know that you're wanting a soft portrait light, that's it straight out the box. Whereas with the Profoto, you'd have to bring in a modifier. I'd also highlight, so you brought with you your small HD battery,
Yes.
V-Lock, to go with the Rotolight, which is fantastic. Profoto, you are locked into the Profoto battery system. So if you buy into Profoto, which is great, they do fantastic batteries, they do fantastic lights, but you know that you're going to have to invest in Profoto batteries. So let's get on to our next challenge, which is still life.
Sure. So unfortunately, still raining outside, but as we're in a pub, we thought we should do some drinks. So we have ourselves espresso martini over here, and so we're just going to light in various creative ways just to get some nice drink shots. Don't know if this is what I'm going to end up with, but Profoto being as light it is, you could just stick it on a K-clamp up here and go directly from above. Hopefully I get a nice shadow on the marble here, but this is quite light, so that might cause an issue. But yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens. So we've got reflections, and obviously shooting in front of a mirror isn't ideal. Maybe I'll angle it a little bit, but I'm just trying to maneuver the B10X around just to find something that's actually a little bit more pleasing for me. Running out of time because the cocktail's actually kind of degrading as we're doing this, but what I do like is, you know, the versatility of this. As I said before, like I kind of liked the idea of putting it wherever, and certainly with how light it is, it's actually pretty easy to do.
So I had half an eye on what Andy was shooting, and I'm going to try for something in the same location but slightly different for the Aperol Spritz, obviously a summer drink. I'm going to push it closer to the mirror. I'm going to stand on this chair and try and shoot down so it's just against the marble surface. And I'm going to see if I can shoot through some of this foliage here and then light that with the big soft Rotolight. Big soft Rotolight, so that then we get a bit of a summery feel, a bit of extra warm light on the foliage in the way of the shot, which I'll be shooting at 70, because obviously that means that we don't get any of the, well, hopefully minimise the rest of the pub that's in the shot. We'll see how that works. It looks great. There's a nice kind of glow from the white marble through the orange Aperol Spritz, which looks really lovely. But at the moment, I'm both not tall enough and the light isn't high enough to light this foliage, and I can't really shoot through this foliage. I can try and put the foliage down there. It's also artificial foliage, which is only going to look good if it's out of focus. So if it adds texture, but not detail. So at the moment, the logo there is backlit, so it's not looking as bright, it's not looking as white as the marble underneath. If we bring in this reflector, then you get a little bit of a pop in the logo there. If we bring it around to the right-hand side, bring it around to the left-hand side, we don't get as much reflection back from the surface of the glass itself. We've got out into Victoria Park. Finally, the rain stopped, so we took on our last challenge, which was a bit of a pet portraiture. Ziggy and Kiki very kindly allowed us to take their picture, and we were working with Andy shooting and me tearing around with the Rotalight, and
Vice versa. You
versa.
shooting and I was with the B10X.
I really love the shots that I got. The motion capture of the flash from the B10 made the coat look really glossy, and it was easy to balance out against the falling light that we've got over by our side.
Yeah, and I think for me, using the Rotalight, as it's a constant source, what I opted to do was to crank that up as high as it could go, and then stuck on a high-speed drive on the camera. So I was still getting that kind of sports-esque mode, you know, not missing an image.
We've been shooting with the Profoto B10X and the Rotalight EOS 2 head. We've noticed, you know, quite a few differences in using them. The Profoto, smaller, lighter, more portable, but it's a harder light source. So if you wanted it to be soft, you'd need to have have some kind of light shaping on there. The Rotalight comes, you know, softer out the box. It's a much bigger LED panel. What we haven't been able to test out today is the flash functionality of the Rotalight. We're using a Profoto trigger, which would be compatible if we had the Rotalight EOS 2 Pro. Unfortunately, the EOS 2, which is just as capable in terms of light output and colour options, is compatible with the Elinchrom Skyport and obviously a direct wired-in sync lead. But it's not compatible with the Profoto, so we haven't been able to put that through its paces. But there are some great features that you wanted to highlight that, again, we were going to try out.
Yeah, so I mean, for myself, coming from a video background, I was naturally drawn to the Rotalight. I think I prefer working with continuous lighting anyway. I think regardless of which system that you use, both are way more than adequate for most shooting situations. In saying that, with the Profoto, with the B10X, I love that portability. I love, you know, being able just to swing it in a backpack, battery intact, being able just to place it anywhere, you know, even on a K-clamp like we had at the beginning of this video. You know, the advantages of the Rotalight, I think, even though we didn't necessarily use it in this video, but the RGB, I think, opens up a lot more creativity options, especially if you're shooting something like a music video.
So that wraps up our adventure today, where we've done a couple of challenges. We've put both lights through their paces. It's really great to be put on the spot with some challenges.
I think at the end of the day, you know, we've set out to hit a couple of different styles of photography, and in essence, I think both are just as valid as each other. For me, it just comes down to, you know, that finesse of user experience.
Well, let us know in the comments which of the lights you prefer. We'd love to hear if you're a Profoto user already, or if you're a Rotalight user already, if you're tempted either way. Let us know in the comments, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.